So earlier in the month, you were talking about how there's a lot of weeks lately where there's only 2 games. The fact that there's 3 this week, does that help you get more playing time for everybody?
It's nice to get into the rhythm. I think it's been good to have 2 weeks of quality practice time coming out of a little bit of a chaotic December. And I think we've been very productive in what we've been able to accomplish and getting the structure in a spot that we like. But it will be nice now to get into a 3-week set where 2 of the 3 weeks are 3 games a week, and it's more of a rhythm of games. And obviously with the numbers we have right now, that makes it a little bit easier in terms of getting guys the minutes they need.
How difficult has it been given the numbers?
It's just something you have to manage. It is what it is. I don't tend to worry about things outside of my control. Injuries and things like that happen, and roster issues, and sometimes you have too little amount of people, and you have to adjust that, and guys' minutes go up, or you have to find guys from the East Coast League. And right now we're in a different situation, and you just have to manage it. And I think the best way to manage it is honesty. Sometimes the players don't like what they're hearing, but at least they know it's coming from a place of honesty. So they're not guessing at what's going on. And, I challenge the guys that aren't getting as many minutes right now that we practice in a manner that you should get better in practice. We don't do boring 5-on-0 systematic standing around drills. We do drills that in games that put them in chaos and make them solve pressure defensively and offensively. We practice in a manner that players should get better in practice if they look at it the right way. And for the guys playing less minutes right now, that's what they have to do.
Yuri came back to your team last week. What did you think of his weekend?
Actually, thought he was excellent. It's a real credit to his growing maturity as a player. He talked about the fact that he didn't like his couple weeks coming out of the World Juniors last year, and that he didn't touch the puck in his mind for the first 3, 4, 5 games. Going from playing against more young men to playing against men. And that his mindset was that he was going to compete and move his feet and try to get the puck a lot. And I thought, he was very dangerous throughout those 2 games. And realistically, probably could have had 3 or 4 goals on the weekend. So I thought his play was excellent.
When you talk about his maturity and comparing to returning from World Juniors last year, how different of a player is he? Maybe not so much physically, but mentally, mature-wise, from 1 year ago to now.
Completely different, both mentally and physically. He's more mature in terms of how he looks at things. He's more mature at how his approach is. He's more physically mature in terms of being able to handle the rigors of the schedule. So it's last year still at this point, we were hiding him a lot of times. We were putting him in offensively advantaged situations, and we were trying to hide him from harder minutes. And that's not the case at all down the stretch last year or now. He's playing the big minutes. He's playing in the hard positions. He's played center. He's playing wing. He can play on the penalty kill. So, his game has just grown immense.
You didn't have him or Rosé the last time you guys played Lehigh Valley. Is it safe to say, on top of a long bus ride from a Friday night into a Saturday game there, that this would likely tonight be a totally different feel than that one?
I mean, you'd hope so. Obviously, we gave ourselves a really good chance to win that game, and we blew it late, which was disappointing. They got a really good team. They're heavy. They're physical. One of the best forechecking teams in the league. Play a very demanding style. Get a lot of players and pucks to your net. We were short-manned, but we're going to need a really strong competitive effort across the board tonight to give ourselves a good chance to win.
Their head coach was kind of like that as a player, and if you look at the physicality, I mean, they're one of the league leaders in penalty minutes. They have over 200 more than the team does here in Rochester. Is it important to stay away from that chippiness because maybe that can play into their tendencies?
But that's the Flyers organization, not just the head coach here, right? I mean, that's the way the Flyers are building. That's Tortorella. That's a lot of their draft picks are bigger. That's just their philosophy. Not right or wrong. That's how they're building their franchise. And So you can't back down. You need to stay, we've become a more physical team. We grew through that last year to where we could be a really good playoff team, because you can't win in the playoffs unless have a willingness to have some pushback from a physical perspective. But we are, we're not built to get in a bunch of fights and do those types of things. We're willing, if it's necessary, to stick up for each other. But we need to stay to our game and not worry about what they're going to do with their game.
Do you have your starting goaltender decided?
Comrie will play tonight.
How valuable, I know it's only been 2 starts, but how valuable is he to have in any Amherst jersey?
Yeah, we have a real luxury of 3 goalies that are all capable of being number 1 goalies in the American Hockey League. 2 of the 3 have spent extensive time in the NHL. So, it's hard for them to balance that, obviously, with 3 right now, but it's, it's a luxury that we have, and Comrie has been a really good presence for us in the short time that he's been with us.